I left for maternity leave full of hope and excitement, expecting the office to be in capable hands. Instead, I walked into chaos. The moment I pushed the door open, everything felt wrong. Desks rearranged, files missing, and colleagues behaving like strangers. It was as if someone had declared war on my space. The walls I'd poured sweat into, the routines I'd established, the trust I'd built, all dismantled in my absence. For 8 seconds, I stood frozen, absorbing shock. Then anger. Then determination. What I saw wasn't just mess, it was a message. They thought I would return weakened. They underestimated me. But they never saw the storm ready to hit. As I walked through the office, I began sniffing out the evidence. I noticed subtle changes. New names on personal items, locked drawers I had always kept open, password changes on shared computers. Someone was trying to erase me. My assistant's desk had a stack of paper I never approved. A meeting room reserved in secret. My email had been forwarded without me knowing. Every shift felt intentional. They weren't just cleaning up, they were rewriting history. I started jotting small items, missing pens, altered schedules, misplaced contracts. Each clue a thread. And I knew, if I followed them right, I'd unravel the plot they tried to bury. IT wasn't just infrastructure that changed.
The people changed.
Faces I trusted now looked away. Whispered conversations stopped when I entered. Some allies became distant, others too eager to help, suspicious in their zeal. I found out about secret alliances, power moves made while I was away. One senior team member had repositioned herself to control decisions I used to handle. Another quietly redirected clients. It was orchestrated. The betrayal cut deep. But I refused to be the victim in their play. I began careful conversations, testing their loyalty, planting seeds. Some responded with fear, others with anger. All showed their colors to fight them. I needed proof. I became a silent detective. I saved emails, screenshots, meeting logs. I compared dates before and after leave. I collected contracts that bore my signature, versions they claimed never existed. I backed up files they lost. I traced financial discrepancies. I recorded shifts in responsibilities. Every piece had to align like a jigsaw. I disguised my work as regular tasks, never revealing how far I was digging. I requested attendance logs, expense reports, communication threads, all through official channels, so no one could accuse me of paranoia. Step by step, I built a fortress of documentation. I wasn't going to explode. I planned my strike. Using the evidence, I mapped who needed to be confronted and when. I would start with those at the bottom, less power, more likely to crack. Then upstream to the masterminds. I scripted my conversations. I rehearsed control, calm tone, hard facts, no emotion. Every demand anchored in documented proof. I would call formal meetings, not private chats. I'd invite HR, legal backup, witnesses. I would catch them in the open. I'd give them space to explain, but their excuses would fall. I wanted their denials to burn themselves. And I would always have the last word. Show me the proof, or retract it. The first meeting shattered facades. I unveiled discrepancies one by one. A manager tried to spin misplacement as oversight. I asked, "Where's your backup email?" Another claimed budget reallocation. I showed internal memos contradicting him. Their faces changed from smug to terrified. Some muttered apologies. Some sputtered defenses. HR tried to calm tempers. But in that room, the narrative flipped. I held the mic, though I didn't want a mic. I forced them to answer. I kept asking, why wasn't I informed? Where is the documentation? Every stall exposed a lie. The room fell silent. The momentum shifted. They realized I hadn't returned broken. I'd returned armed. With wins and meetings, I pushed further. I reclaimed control of departments, reinstated processes, reassigned responsibilities. Employees started coming back to me, quietly, carefully. Some suggested changes, afraid I'd resist. I listened, but only those aligned with integrity. I asked for transparency reports. Budgets had to be justified. I instituted check and balance systems. I left no gap for sabotage. Each reversal felt sweet. Contracts restored, clients re-engaged, authority reasserted. I was building back more robust, more resilient. They expected me to collapse under pressure. But I grew stronger under it. The mastermind tried a last gambit. He scheduled a surprise meeting about restructuring. I walked in with my binder of proofs. He attempted to gaslight me, turn blame, bring louder voices to drown me out. But I stayed composed. I walked him through timelines. I exposed his contradictions. I laid out his plan in front of the room. I asked, "Do you deny this email? Did you authorize this?" He couldn't. He stumbled. He tried to spin new stories, but each was quashed by facts. Others in the room watched. Some realized they'd helped the wrong side. His dominion collapsed in that confrontation. I claimed victory not through rage, but clarity. With my office restored, I didn't stop. I rebuilt a stronger culture. I instituted regular audits, open feedback channels, rotation of duties, transparent communication. No longer would absence be a weakness to exploit. I brought back compassion, including for those who erred, provided they acknowledged and reformed. I healed relationships. I trained staff on integrity. I turned vulnerability into vigilance. The scars remained, but they reminded me, never be absent in voice, even when physically away. I turned a destruction into a transformation. What was once a battlefield became a fortress. If you ever step away from maternity, health, whatever, don't assume your absence erases your presence.
Prepare.
Leave records. Delegate with visibility. Secure access. Keep channels open. And trust your instincts when you return. If you find destruction, be calm, strategic, and principled. Evidence is your weapon. Truth dismantles lies. Many will test you. Some will betray. But you can come back stronger. They expected silence. They expected weakness. Instead, you return with papers they never expected and power they never imagined. After the dust settled, the office didn't look the same, not because of the furniture or the files, but because of the energy. People walked differently. They spoke with more caution and respect. Even the walls seemed to remember what happened. My name, once whispered behind closed doors, was now spoken with weight. Yet I didn't gloat. I moved quietly, making sure my victory spoke through results, not revenge. I rebuilt trust through fairness. I promoted those who stayed loyal, but I also gave second chances to those who had fallen into manipulation. I learned that true leadership isn't about dominance. It's about restoration. And as the company's profits rose again, I realized something powerful. Sometimes the greatest revenge is stability. They thought they broke me, but I had become unbreakable. Months later, as I prepared to step into a higher position, I looked around the office, not with anger, but gratitude. Every betrayal, every lie, every broken file had taught me resilience. I created a new maternity policy, one that protected every woman who would one day stand where I once stood. No one would ever return to ruins again. I trained my replacements not just to manage, but to guard integrity.